Hello and welcome back to Everyday Kingdom Living with Pranithia. You're in for a treat because we are doing the final episode of this series. This is bonus episode 8, and the title of it is After the Yes, Living as a Kingdom Wife. This whole episode is just going to show you how to walk in the mantle of a wife before and after marriage. Because remember, saying yes to God's design for you as a wife, spiritually or physically, it releases clarity, protection, purpose. But the wife mantle is about posture, not status. And that means saying yes to the engagement. You're still not a wife. You still have to carry this posture, at least not a wife in the natural. In the spiritual, sure. In the natural, not yet. But once you say I do at that altar, once you stand in front of those witnesses, once the world has confirmed and the signature has been signed that you are husband and wife, now we're going to learn how to live as a kingdom wife. Well, guess what? We're doing it in advance. So come on back. I'll see you soon. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. So we're talking about that mantle that we get to carry. So my first point I'm going to make, wife is a mantle before it's a marriage. Mantle, think about a fireplace. You got the mantle that you normally decorate. Put the pictures on, the candles on. Some people put their TVs on it. It's sitting up there with nothing on it. It's empty. But when God starts pouring the things it takes to be a kingdom wife, the pictures, you can say the pictures represent your financial situation changing. It can be a candle that can represent the glow that you have now. It could be the wardrobe that you purchased to match your season or already have to match your season. Because remember another video, God revealed to me that I was already prophetically purchasing things for this season I'm walking in now, for my marital season, for my new purpose and promise, for my kingdom promise and my kingdom husband. I was already doing the things. I just wasn't open. My mind wasn't free. I had all these things in my way, clouding my judgment. But anyway, I'm not going backwards. I'm going forward. So, wife is a mantle before it's marriage. Because in Proverbs 18:22, we know the scripture. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. He who finds a wife. He who finds a wife. He, the man, finds the wife. Not a girlfriend. And it's not a maybe he's going to find. It says he who finds, and say he might find, he should find, he could find, he would find. No. He who finds a wife, that means he's going to go and move and do and see if you're in position to where he needs you to be, so he can say, oh, that's her, that's my wife. But before we can get to that point, before we can get put in the field and positioned to receive our kingdom husbands, we have to practice our wifeliness with God first. Now, that's what I've been doing for the past 4 months. Once God planted the fact that, hey, you're getting married, sister, I don't know why you acting like you're not. I got a kingdom man out there for you, and I'm ready for you to meet up. I said, okay. I was very happy being single, God, but since you want this to happen quicker, it's fine with me. Went with it. So I'm practice my wifiness first, with God first. Because there were things that I learned. I've been a wife in the natural once, got a divorce, and I was doing things that I knew a wife should do, but I wasn't doing them through what God told me or showed me I should be doing. So now that God has become my teacher and I have allowed myself to be the student, he's shown me different things. When you are practicing your wifeliness with God first, he's not only going to show you what it takes to be a wife in a general sense, like the nurturing, the soft woman era situations, all those things. He's gonna show you those too, but he's also going to recalibrate you to match your kingdom husband. So your purposes will be the same or similar. The visions will be similar. The way you speak, the vocabulary that you have, the things that you think, the way you want to raise your kids, the way you see life, even down to the foods you like to eat, the water you like to drink, the places you like to go. Like all these things tend to be very, very similar, if not completely identical, because God don't play around when he's putting his kingdom people together. Don't play around with kingdom units. Thank you, Lord. So in order to get to this point, though, the point where just before you get the ring, you get engaged and you say yes, you got to let God show you how to love and how to receive love. So as I was walking through this 4 months of transitioning into my wife season, I told y'all God cleaned me out, and then he filled me back up with the things that are of him, not the things that are of Pranithia, the things that are of him. And when he poured back into me, he showed me that the fruits of the Spirit are what we should look for in relation to love. If a person isn't exhibiting the fruits of the Spirit, then more than likely they don't possess the skills to love you. And I learned that. In the natural realm, yes, I learned that. So it's your responsibility to let God show you how to love. And that means him showing you how to use these fruits of the Spirit, how to activate them within your life so you can use them in the spiritual realm as well as the natural. And when you start doing that, he also shows you how to receive that same kind of love back, because he starts loving you even more. Because it's a thing, you can't see everything that God is doing, all the time. He'll reveal some things, but not everything. Lord, tell me how to say this. Tell me how to say this. God's going to show you how to love because he put it in his word with the fruits of the Spirit. They pretty much tell you exactly what you need to be looking for, the red flags versus the green flags. And then in order for you to learn how to receive it, now that you recognize the fruits of the Spirit and what they are, because he's been training you in how to recognize these, the definitions, what it actually looks like, what it means for somebody to be kind to you, Now he can start spiritually showing you this in the way he talks to you, because now you spend so much time with him learning these fruits of the Spirit that you hear his voice clearly, right? He can start sending blessings to you, providing for you in a way that no man, when I say man, I mean woman too, has been able to provide for you. He can start showing you kindness. And it's not that he hasn't, it's because your eyes are now open to receiving it. Your mind is now aligned to seeing what it really is. Your heart is now open to accepting it. Do you track what I'm saying? Because now you know what it looks like. So that's one. The second one, let God show you how to trust and be trusted. When you go through a series of traumatic experiences, or just people saying they're going to be there for you and they're not, and they've made these promises, whether it's through your wedding vows or just something simple like, well, I'm going to pick you up to go out, and then they fill their car up and now they can't come pick you up. Whatever it is, I don't know. Whatever experience you've been through where you put your trust in someone and then you got let down. Well, God doesn't let us down. He does not dangle deliverance in our face. He does not position the promise and then we can't reach it. He doesn't do that. God puts things in our faces in a tangible, natural sense and says, here you go. This is because you're deciding to be obedient. You're deciding to trust me. And you're like, what? But all I did was put $10 in church. You giving me all of this? Somebody blessing me with keys to a car. You let my approval go through for my house or my apartment. All I did was put $10 in church. And God like, yeah, that's all I wanted you to do. And you sit back and you go, okay. That activates something in you. That activates obedience. That activates trust. And think about it in a natural sense. when you tell your kids, here, take your laundry, go put them in your drawer. And you go down there and they took their laundry and they put them in a drawer. And then they put it in neat. My 5-year-old put her clothes in the drawer neatly. And then you get down there, you see it neatly, and you're like, oh, wow. Well, let me increase what I can trust her with. So I said, well, since she's doing that so well, let me go ahead and show her how to wash her plate when she's done eating dinner, just to keep the dishes from piling up in the sink. She was so excited about it. I said, you got to get the step stool. Here's the little scrubby brush. Here's the soap. Turn on the water. You don't want it too hot, too cold. Just turn on the water. Go ahead and scrub your plate. And I keep bleach in the soap dispenser because some nights we're moving so quickly that I don't get to, do full washes like that. So I keep bleach with the soap, mix it in. And that way I know I'm killing germs on this plate or whatever we're cleaning, if we got to clean quick like I'm showing them. But it elevated my level of trust in her. So it let her see, wow, mommy trusts me with this when I do it the right way, when I'm obedient, when I follow. She trusts me with this. And now she's giving me something else to do. That's how it works with God. God gave you this because you did this. And then God gives you this because you did this. And then God gives you this because you did this. And it just keeps going up until you're not even realizing you walking in obedience and you walking in trust is leading you straight to, in this case, your wifely mantle. So let God show you how to trust and be trusted, because now it's a twofold thing. And now when you meet your kingdom husband, he can trust that he can go on tour and you're going to handle everything at home. When he comes into some millions, or you come into some millions because of whatever contracts you've signed or whatever you've done to increase your business, now he knows I'm about to be married, or I'm already married to someone who knows how to steward this. They've done this before. And even if you haven't done this before, you've shown that you allow God to show you how to manage and how to steward this. You see what I'm saying? Let God cover you, provide for you, be there for you, because when God covers you, it covers everything. Everything that's attached to you, that's a part of his purpose for your life, everything that's supposed to be given to you for this assignment. Like when you let God just cover you, provide for you, be there for you, he's showing you, he's going to tailor it to show you what it's going to be like when your spouse covers you, provides for you, is there for you. Let God show you exactly what and who it is that you need. Because if you walk around trying to figure out who you need, you're probably going to get it wrong. But when you let God show you what you need, it's for a reason. It's not so he can control the situation or take away your free will choice. No, it's because he tailor-made a kingdom spouse for you. He made you. He gave you the assignment in heaven. You came down here in your mother's womb. You got birthed out, faced distractions, had to figure out what your assignment is again, had to be reminded of your assignment. And the whole time, God never forgot the blueprint of who your kingdom spouse was supposed to be. It never changed. Just the timing and the trajectory and you choosing to use your free will choice to do X, Y, Z got in the way of progress, the progress to the promise. But if you let God show you exactly what and who it is that you need, then you get to recognize, you know for a fact that when you see this person, that they were tailor-made in the kingdom for you. That's what I decided to do. I said, I'm not about to go through this again. I'm about to let God do what he do in my life and send the person he tailor-made for me. And when I tell you the man that God has revealed to me is tailor-made for me, I was astonished when the signs first came. And if it's something that you've never experienced before, you're going to be astonished too. Grateful, but astonished. The last point I want to make with this part is let God clean out unnecessary things in your life so that you can be open to receiving your kingdom spouse. So if you got paperwork you need to file, if you have money that you need to pay a bill with, if you got debts that you're in, and you might not need to pay off all your debts, but start making moves to pay off your debts. If you have issues with transportation, if you need to budget better, if you need to take care of your outward appearance better, if you got you need to go to the doctor, you haven't been to the doctor in years. Just whatever it is God is showing you, let God clean out all unnecessary things. Let him move those old girlfriends who not married, but they're trying to tell you what to do to prepare for marriage. Or they are married, but their marriage going downhill and they trying to tell you what to do and what not to do. All that stuff. Let God clean out the unnecessary things in your life so that you can be open to receiving your kingdom spouse. And just know that when you become a kingdom spouse, you are a helpmeet. And that means you're an assignment partner, because all of us have an assignment. So that means when our kingdom spouse enters into our lives, we have been assigned to them. They have been assigned to us. And now we get to work out this next season of our lives together. Because remember in the last video, I said there's some doors that don't open until you are with your kingdom spouse. Because some doors you can't access until you're with your kingdom spouse. Hear me. There are those of us who are not married to the person of the kingdom. We chose that person. And if you don't want to take accountability for that today, don't worry, I'll do it. I take accountability for the fact that my relationships, I chose them. I did not let God lead me into them. And because I did not let God lead me into them, they did not work out. But when God does the soul tying, he not only ties the souls, he ties the spirits. Soul ties get so hard to break because one, they are not supposed to be broken. But two, you should not waste your soul tie connection on somebody that is not connected to your soul, to your assignment, to your purpose, to who God called you to be. So then it gets really hard to break it off with them and move on to the next. And God has to step in, intervene, and do the severing for you. But when you're connected in the spirit first, you don't have to worry about all of the what can I call it? The temptations that come with the soul tie, because you're going about it the right way. When you start letting God work on you spiritually first, start showing you all of these things on how to be a wife spiritually first, or be a husband spiritually first, then you bypass the temptations because they no longer fit the mold of what it takes to be a kingdom wife or a kingdom husband. I can't do all this foolishness and then talk about I'm a part of the kingdom. I can't mistreat my friends and think that when I get with my kingdom husband, I'm not going to mistreat his friends, or I'm not going to mistreat the purpose that he told me to steward. We see all day all the marriages that don't work out. Now, we got free will. I'm not even going to knock the free will. Some of us are marrying people that we believe God told us to marry, but it's based on our free will choice, because maybe they look good and then we fell in love, or maybe we fell in love and then they started to look good. Whatever your free will choices were, I did it, but they didn't work because that wasn't my kingdom partner, wasn't my kingdom spouse. Do I feel like all of us have one? Yes. Do I feel like all of us use our free will choice to say, God, I want to surrender so that you can lead me to them? Not necessarily. Because sometimes we think we know better, which is where I said, let God show you exactly what and who it is that you need. Because when you meet your helpmeet and you become an assignment partner, you guys should be able to just take off and start working together in fulfilling his kingdom purpose. Because Genesis 2:18 says, I will make a helper suitable for him. So he made Eve from his rib. And that's another thing. The person that you are supposed to be with, this kingdom spouse of yours, will have your rib. That's why some other belief systems about relationships and gender, when it comes to rib, makes it difficult because God took the rib from the man to fashion and make woman. So I'm going to just leave that there. For those of you who know where I'm going, God bless your heart. But Genesis 2:18 says, I will make a helper suitable for him. Remember, we all have assignments before entering the earth. And I said this part in our mother's wombs. When we get to earth, we get distracted, we get shown these different things, and we get farther away from who God called us to be. But when we enter the season of becoming a kingdom spouse, we both now have an assignment to fulfill together. And as helpmeets, we are responsible for fulfilling them together. We both have this intimate relationship with each other after we build that relationship with God first. Because the goal of doing this with God first is so that we can have our table set, our resources in place, all the things in place to receive what our kingdom spouse is bringing. We need to know what to do with the resources, the money, the family, the job, the inheritance, so that when our spouse or our promise comes, they can trust us with theirs and vice versa. Because when you come to the table already aligned, it makes everything so much easier to receive and steward the promise. It makes it 10 times easier because you're not doing it with your free will choice. You're doing it with God's power. You're not doing it with what you used to believe. You're doing it with a transformed, renewed mind. You're not doing it with that old tainted heart or that fluctuating nervous system that you can't really rely on. You're doing it with that nervous system that's complete and whole and walking in peace. You're doing it with that heart that you know is full of love and is open to receiving the love God has for you, because He's the one who showed you how to love first. Which brings me to my third point. Submission to God first, always. Because Ephesians 5:22 and 23 says, wives, submit to your husbands as unto the Lord, which means we should be submitting to God first. Sub means under. The prefix sub means under or below. And when you think about mission, that root word mission comes from the Latin missio. I love looking up words, y'all. It comes from the Latin verb missio. And missio means ascending or a purpose, not ascending, which would definitely be good. My. But a mission means a sending or a purpose. So when you put these two words together, submission literally means to come under a mission or to support a sending or purpose that's greater than you individually, which means this submission means it's something that you can't do yourself. It means you're following something, you're under something. But the only thing that we should learn how to do first when we're first becoming wives and we're about to say yes to the dress and become an official natural ground wife is submitting to God's mission for our lives, because then we can properly submit in our marriage. And it doesn't mean under man's control. And men, it doesn't mean that you're controlling your wife and you're making all these decisions for her. Yes, please know God gave you a vision for the family, but know that God more than likely gave her the same vision. Pray for if she doesn't, that's where things collide. God gives the man the vision for the family. God gives the wife the vision for the family. And if those two people are supposed to be together, the vision should be very, very similar. If it isn't, that's red flag number one. Because you should be spending so much time with God that you already know the vision for your family, and your kingdom husband should line up with that. If it doesn't, he is not the one. And it's not to say he's gonna have, everything that your vision has is gonna be super. It's just gonna be similar, and you're gonna feel it spiritually because you've been walking spiritually first before you started walking naturally, right? Which means you already conditioned yourself to see things the way God sees them, the discerning and the peace. The responding to things a certain way, the preparation that you have done. So you're going to already know what to do when it comes to submitting in a marriage, because you spend time submitting to God's plan for your life. I'm going to use myself for an example. I spent time submitting to God by letting God lead, by walking with God, but I've also co-partnered with God in a lot of ways. And that co-partnering part is what you're doing with your spouse. Now, if your spouse is not understanding of that, you keep praying. Because if God showed you who your spouse was, he has shown me who mine is. Sometimes you got to continue to pray for those little areas like that and let God do the work. So that way, when you get married, you don't have to worry about it. When that topic come up, which if it comes up, you already know God had already worked on it. It might not even come up because God's already done what's needed for that person to see it that way. But back to that control part. Submitting in a marriage is not about man controlling woman, but it's about God's purpose flowing through your husband and thus landing on you and the family in its domino effect. Which brings me to point 4. You're built to reign beside and not behind. And Esther 2, it says she was prepared, favored, and chosen for such a time as this. And all of us have that season where we're being called to be a wife. And you're going to know that season because there's some people out here that are waiting, a very, very, very long time for their spouse. And I think personally, after so much time waiting, you'll know, because your preparation season is going to let you know when it's about to come to an end and you're about to step into it. God will start showing you. So if you're waiting for an extremely long period of time, I'm talking, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years for this person that you believe God showed you, either God severed the ties between you and that person because that person chose their free will choice to get with somebody else. That happens a lot. But whatever that is, like Esther and Esther 2, she was prepared, favored, chosen for this time. And that means so are you. So maybe it's not always about, God, you put this person in my heart. They're supposed to be my person. If that person obviously took the free will, this is for somebody. If they obviously used their free will to marry somebody else and it wasn't you, even though God showed you it was you, God severed that. God disconnected you from being attached to that person. And you're actually spiritually free to move about the country because he reassigns, he recalibrates the mission and says, well, that person went that way. I'm going to let Chiquita Banana be over here with Mars Barton. All right. So another scripture, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Ephesians 5:21. So that means you're reigning beside. He's beside you. You're beside him, reigning together. We've been taught for a long time the wrong thing about him being above us and stuff like that. God is above us both. We walk side by side, but we submit ourselves to our husband because he's covering us. Think about why we submit to God so easily, because God covers. We can trust in God. So if you can't trust your husband, you can't receive his covering and you'll feel uncovered. You'll feel it. God let me feel. I'm not married right now. God let me feel what covering feels like so that I can know what it feels like when I get married. He let me know. He'll let you know too. If he did it for me, he can do it for you. With this walking side by side and submitting to one another out of reverence for Christ, this shows mutual submission because it's not just the wife to the husband, but it's both. Because we're both under God's mission. We're trying to fulfill his mission. Your husband is there to protect and cover, and take care of things in advance. The wife is there to kind of bring in this other perspective and to show, maybe we should take this way and not that way. And he can trust you because he knows your relationship with God is just as intense and strong as his. So he can trust, well, I believe my wife. She's saying go this way. Let's go. And he should be able to humble himself enough to maybe say, I don't have all the answers and we might have to change the plan. Because Proverbs 31:11-12 says her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. Take the lead, Father God. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. Even in the worst relationships and in the worst marital outcomes, when you see the woman, I'll say about 7 times out of 10, she was trying to bring him good, not harm, all the days of her life. And I'm just going to speak for me because I know in my relationships, that's what I try to do. Friendships, work relationships, my marriage, things like that. That was what I've always tried to do. So that my husband could have full confidence in me and I could lack nothing of value because I encompass everything that he needs and vice versa. So that we don't mess up the promise by being together. And this also shows that a woman has her own mission to build, to nurture, to do good, carrying his purpose and responsibility in marriage, not just following her partner all the time, but partnering with their husband in a way that pleases God and submits to God's mission and plan for their lives. Like I said, it should all just kind of work together. If it's not linking up, something a little off, you trying to do it and just keep on, it's not sticking. And it probably wasn't God's plan. That probably wasn't the person God has for you. And when it comes to this part, if you're aligned with Christ's mission first, he'll let you see and know, like I just said, if it's kingdom or not. He'll let you see and know if this promise is a part of what he has planned for you. Because if it's not, God will show you how to pray for him. Because sometimes people are using their free will to make the decision and choose somebody else that's not you, or choose a different promise that God didn't have for them. But God will show you how to pray for that situation, because God lets you see what that person is doing, the moves that he or she they're making to line themselves up. Because if God showed you who your spouse is, you're going to be able to see it. He's going to give you confirmation that this person is moving differently. You see it? This person is walking and talking differently. You see that? That way, you have those moments where you're allowed to study them. If they write books, you're reading their books. If they got a podcast, you're listening to their podcast. If they do live videos, you're watching their lives. If they're in your present natural realm, you're not just going through this by faith. If they're in your present realm, you pop up where they are. They go to the same church as you. Y'all working the same job together. You start to be able to read between the lines and understand them. There was, I wish I had my planner. It's in the front. It says, God empowers you. If it's somebody that you're supposed to love, God will empower you to understand them. And that's the truth. That is the truth. God did it with me, because he sent me on this journey for a few months at the beginning of this 4-month period. He sent me on this journey to pay attention more closely to individuals that are supposed to be a part of my assignment. And as I did that, I started to understand them in a way that I don't think a lot of people, even in their circle, understand them. I started to read between the lines and started to empathize with these people's struggles. I started to be on fire for them and pray and cover them in the spirit. And you'll find that when you're walking this way, when God has shown you who your kingdom spouse or husband is, or wife is, or the promise, whatever that promise might be, you'll find that you start praying for their mental state, their physical state, their emotional state, their spiritual state. When they bring up something, you start praying on that too, because you're like, God, they're seeking this. I want them to get it. If they're seeking the education, you start praying for the education. You start praying for provision. If they're looking a little distraught that day while they're doing something, you start praying that they find some time to just rest and breathe and take care of themselves. I remember the person God shared with me, they got sick. They became sick, but they came through. They did their job anyway. And God was like, wow, look at that persistence. They still pushing through for me, doing what I asked them to do. They still arriving to serve, still fulfilling the purpose that I need them to fulfill, because they know the importance of punctuality and being on time for this season, this moment, this time. People are relying and counting on them. So they got to show up, sick or not. And all I sat there and did, instead of paying attention to everything that they were talking about, I said, well, I'm going to pray for their healing, because they're about to go somewhere else and travel someplace else. And I'm going to go ahead and pray for their healing. I don't know how many other people were. I got a feeling a lot of people were there to just hear what was coming out this person's mouth, which is what the person intended anyway. But God allowed me to see beyond that. He said, no, daughter, pray for their health. Pray that they get whatever they need to take care of themselves, get the rest, because that's what needs to be seen. God positioned me to understand this person. And when I say that you are doing this, please note that God is showing you to your kingdom spouse, and they are doing the same thing for you. You should be able to feel it. If you're aligned with God, if you're aligned spiritually with God to this point where God's going to position you to be able to feel when they're praying for you, feel when they're calling your name out in the spirit, to feel when they're going through something, because you cover them just as much as they cover you. So if you feel like you're walking in alignment with God and you feel like you're moving in a position where you want to know more, just ask him. God says, ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door will open. He wants to reveal the things of the spiritual realm to us. So God will let you see who they are. God will show you the changes that they're making. If you're ready, if you're aligned in position to receive that information, he will give it to you. He did it for me. He's still doing it for me, and he will do it for you. So that way, after you say yes to the proposal and you say yes to the dress and you say I do at the altar, you've just been activated. Walk in that purpose with your kingdom husband, your kingdom wife, and you live the life that God has always assigned you to live. Which I know I can't leave out here without a reflection. So I want you to think about it. How are you walking in your mantle as a kingdom wife right now? And then pray over your future husband. Even if you don't know who he is, pray over your future husband. Or if you're married right now, pray over him right now daily to make sure that you and him both remain in alignment with God's will. And then I want you to do one more thing. This might be in a PDF. I want you to write 3 ways that you will honor the mantle of wife this week. After you see this video, this week, how will you honor your mantle that you're wearing now as a wife? Will you become a better listener? Will you love on your kids more? Will you, make your outward appearance match your inside? Will you do things that are spiritual or things that are practical, like your budget or, your debt, paying off your debts? Make that decision on what you will do. Okay? That's what I want you to do. So I didn't put this in my other video because I was just too amped up, but make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure that you share this video with as many people as possible, because this right here, these 2 videos about being kingdom wives and kingdom husbands, this is going to enlighten and help a lot of people. And I'm not just doing this for me. I told you I sweep around my own door. So the stuff I'm sharing with you is the exact stuff I'm going through right now in this season of my life. And if you're watching this later, today's April 26th. It's 7:21 p.m. Central Standard Time when I'm finished recording this. And this is for me to look back on and say, oh God, you did it. But whenever you're watching this, show up for God. God is always showing up for you. And then show up. You're going to learn how to show up for your husband, your kingdom husband, and your kingdom wife. All right? Share this video with somebody. Show up for me, y'all. And go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be making these videos often. Subscribe. I don't want you to miss a thing, because another series is coming up right after this. I'll see you next time.